Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 13 analysis session. Let's dive deep. First and foremost, whenever we are doing analysis, we always look at the economic calendar. This is where everything usually starts with the analysis sessions. Now, looking at Monday, remember this is the final trading week of the quarter, which is also going to be the final trading week of the monthly candlestick. We don't anticipate a lot of activity with these markets because majority of the move has already happened. Maybe we'll see short-term retracements on some of the assets that you're going to look at. But fundamentally speaking, at 11:15 local East African time, we're going to anticipate the French flash manufacturing PMI. 15 minutes later at 11:30, we are going to anticipate German flash manufacturing. Now, we are anticipating the data to come out slightly positive. If you look at the forecast, we are anticipating slightly positive numbers compared to the previous numbers. Now, moving on with the day, the euro is going to have a plethora of activities. We are going to be looking at buying opportunities while we go into the charts in a few moments. But later on in the day, we are going to anticipate USD flash manufacturing PMI. Now, you could be asking yourself, what is flash manufacturing and flash services? Basically, this is a level of diffusion index based on surveyed purchasing managers in the manufacturing industry. The effect is actual greater than forecast is good for currency. So if the number comes out greater than 51.9, it means it's good for currency. Now, the frequency is usually released monthly around 3 weeks into the current month. Now, why do traders care? It's a leading indicator of economic health. Businesses react quickly to market conditions, and their purchasing managers hold perhaps the most current and relevant insight into the company's view of the economy. Now, the data is derived from about 800 purchasing managers, which asks these people, how do you rate the relative level of business conditions, including employment, production, new orders, prices, supplier deliveries, and inventories? So if the data comes out negative, it means things are going to be positive for the outside economy. Now, moving on to 9 p.m. evening, we are going to have a speech from the Bank of England Governor Bailey, who's going to be speaking. He's going to be giving a lecture at Leicester Chancellor's Distinguished Lecture Series in England. Now, the most important thing to look out for this speech is the tone. Last week we heard Jerome Powell speaking, and the tone of how he put out his view of the economy, investors look at those tone and asks themselves, is it a good time to be buying? Is it a good time to be selling? Basically, that's going to be. Remember, in Forex, there's only one of two things you can be doing. You can either be buying, you can either be selling. Now, Tuesday is going to be relatively quiet for us. We don't have any red folders, meaning we don't have any high impact news releases. Now, moving on to Wednesday, we are going to have CPI for the year for the Australian dollar. The forecast is not yet out. We would want to see. I will wake up early in the morning, catch these during Asian session. Now, during the day, we do have British pound annual budget release. Now, it's tentative, meaning there is no specific time that this data is going to be released. So, any time within the day. Usually, it comes out after London Open, 2 to 3 hours after London Open, whereby we are going to receive the budget release, whereby they look at, okay, what is the budget for the year, including expected spending and income levels, borrowing levels, financial objectives, and planned investments. Moving on to Thursday, we do have final GDP for the quarter for the United States economy, whereby we do anticipate that things. December was really good in terms of the economy for the United States, but January, February, March, things have not been looking up for the economy because of the tariffs, because of everything that's happening on the United States soil. Now, moving on to Friday, we do have retail sales for the British pound at exactly 10 a.m. local East African time, whereby we do anticipate negative numbers, whereby the forecast is actually negative 0.3. The previous number was at 1.7. If you look at the previous releases, things have not been going really well, and we also saw last week retail sales for the United States dollar did actually come out very negative, and it can cut across the economies. Now, that's going to be it for the week. The highlight or the most important thing to look out for when it comes to Sunday, March 30th, we are going to go to DST, whereby the clocks are going to be shifted 1 hour behind from my time zone. So London is going to be opening up at 9 a.m. Currently, London opens at 10 a.m. So the clocks are going to be moved 1 hour behind. Here it says that it's going to be moved forward, but in my local time, it's actually going to be moved backwards 1 hour. Now, moving on to more data, I want us to go to commitment of traders. So this is where I usually like to look at my data. This is a Commodity Futures and Trading Commission. It's a government website, as you can see here, cftc.gov. Now, moving on, if you want to look at gold, you go to metals and other, and then you go to disaggregated futures only. Why futures only? Because this is where institutions usually push most of their money. So we want to look at the short format and then go down to gold. So we can see changes from, now you want to focus on the changes. Here you can see we have the producers, merchants. So these are people basically tasked with getting the metal out of the ground. Swap dealers, people in charge of trading swap deals, managed money, and other reportables. For us traders, you want to look at managed money. This is where the institutions, the hedge funds, the big pockets usually hedge their positions on gold. How do you go about this data? First and foremost, you want to go to managed money. Okay, so we can see that we have long and short positions. Okay, we don't want to look at the spreads. You have long positions and short positions. So we can see there is a total of 220,875 79 net long positions and 37,045 net short positions. But for us traders, you want to look at the changes. So we can see from 11th March till 18th March, which is 1 week. Now remember, this data is usually updated every Tuesday. So from 11th March to 18th March, we saw 15,000 long positions being added on gold. Now, if you look at the charts, if I was to pull up my trading view, this is what we see. From 11th March, so this is on the daily time frame. Let me go to the 1 hour time frame. From 11th March is around this region here. So from 11th March to 18th March, we saw 15,000 long positions being added. And as a result, you can see prices did aggressively move to the upper side. Now, when you're looking at commitment of traders, it's lagging data, okay? But you can be using this data to look at how institutions are pushing money in the financial markets, whereby if institutions were buying, they need to cover up their positions, whereby they need to start selling into the markets for them to make a profit. If they did buy around this region here, they have to start selling into the marketplace so that they cover up their positions and make a profit. Now, if you look at this information, we do have a reversal pattern which is forming currently at the moment, whereby prices did tap back into $3,000 an ounce on Friday. Now, this was a really good trade that we did execute with the premium members, whereby prices aggressively sold. Within this 1 hour candlestick, we saw something like 300 plus pips in the financial markets. Now, what is my bias for this coming week? This coming week, I don't anticipate a lot of activity in the markets because, as mentioned, this is the final trading week of the quarter. This is the final trading week of the month. There's a possibility that we might see a short-term retracement whereby there's a high likelihood I'll anticipate prices coming back down to $3,000 an ounce and play around this region as we wait for the new calendar month to begin. Now that's going to be if for gold. When I'm looking at GBP USD, we were anticipating some previous setups last week whereby it didn't tap into our region of interest, but looking at price action currently at the moment, I want to see prices coming back down to 1.28655, whereby if we do get a rejection around that region, I'll be looking for further buying opportunities to the upper side. Now, the tone of Jerome Powell last week was very dovish, meaning we might see interest rate cuts this year, possibly to 3.9 percent, which is a record low for the previous trading months. Whereby, if we do have low interest rates, we anticipate that okay, there's a possibility that we are going to have a weaker economy. Now, I'll be anticipating prices to have that short-term retracement. So on GBP USD, I will want to see prices coming back down, maybe a slightly stronger dollar when I'm looking at GBP USD and Euro USD. Now moving over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been very favorable to me over the past few trading sessions, whereby price action has become more clearer, and I'm anticipating prices to come back to the $100,000 a Bitcoin in the near future. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but in the near future, there's a very high possibility that we might come back up to all-time highs. Looking at price action ever since Friday, during the weekend, prices have gained at least, if I'm not wrong, more than 4.65% of the total price value of Bitcoin, meaning things are now heading to the bullish side in terms of this crypto asset that we are looking at currently at the moment. That's the only thing, the only assets that I'm going to be looking at for this coming week. As a trader, you want to react to prices. I would want to see how price action is going to favor me. Maybe find one or two opportunities in between this week before I call it a trading month. March has been favorable. Take care of your profits. May God protect you. May your enemies respect you. May death neglect you and your family. Thank you.